Thank you so much. Bless your hearts, ladies. Thanks.
So good afternoon. My name's Jyoti. My elders would say, please introduce myself a little bit first, but I don't want to take up more time than from her. I will just say that the Creator put me together through a vision that was carried, and we're going to talk about that tomorrow more, Aggie and I, about how Spirit moves in our lives, and when you listen to it, where it takes you. So maybe some of you can join us in that. For the moment, I'm the spiritual director for the Center for Sacred Studies, the blanket under which the International Council of 13 Indigenous Grandmothers snuggles. And one of them, who is the eldest of our council, is Agnes Baker Pilgrim, and she is the spokesperson for our council. And they like to say that when you add up all of their ages, there's over 1,000 years of wisdom sitting at that table, and they get older every year by 13 years. So, Grandma Agnes Baker Pilgrim, how to introduce a spirit that walks amongst us, and every time it gets hard, all I ever hear her say is, Creator will figure this out for us, Jyoti, don't you even worry about it. Give it up. And when I get on my knees and I'm afraid I can't go any further, the grandmothers approach me and say, if you put something in motion, don't stop till you finish. With that in mind, I'll give you the one that moves us along with her gentle warriorship and her great heart of wisdom. Agnes Baker Pilgrim.
Thank you, Jyoti. Well, what a wonderful thing to take part in is to be with you here. Being a great grandmother, I have 5 generations, and I just always thank the Creator just right now for letting me to live, to be able to have my 5th generation to come. How many of you got 5 generations?
Yeah, right.
No hands. So see how privileged the Creator has made me by giving me my 5th generation to allow me to live as long as I have. And I said, I feel like right now I'm older than dirt. And I would like to kind of give you a little bit of history about us grandmas. How many of you have seen our book? Good. You like it? Well, it's now in what, 7 countries, 7 languages? 9. So it's an extension of our words. I saw a man walking over here today that had the world on his shoulders, and that's the way I feel sometimes. But really, truly, I'm so thankful to our Creator to make me this servant to be your voice as I journey the world. You know, I always say we're all in this leaky canoe together, and it's going to take all of us to keep from sinking. And so, you were all water babies. Did your mom ever tell you that? Born in water in an amnio sac was your beginning life, like the dragonfly. It too was born in water, but when it came out, it couldn't go back. We couldn't go back to water either. But just think, even when you're in the amnio sac in your beginning life in water, before you came to this world, a big ball of water came out before you. Water will always attract us water babies. And how many of you talk to the water? Do you tell it it's sacred? Do you tell it to know every day that without you I die? You know, we got to come back to those kind of thinking and that kind of a way of a path of our beloved that wants us to be able to care about those type of elements that keep us alive, because without water we die. And so I've been touring the world long before I became this international grandma, telling people about all these things, being a voice for the voiceless, and I was a voice for the water also, and the one-legged, the tree people, and the air, and all these things in the animal kingdom that doesn't have a voice. So I was a voice for the voiceless. And there's some people here, Chant Thomas and his wife Bahar, who had me come a long time ago to try to fight for our one-legged tree people. And so I was that voice. And so being a voice, I was a voice for the water. And to teaching people all over the world that water could hear. Now this scientist that I'm going to meet in a couple weeks, Emoto, the Japanese scientist, has sent a book that showed me that they have proven that water can hear. So you water babies, thank that water when you drink it, and thank it because over 75% of your water is body. Of your body is water. And so give thanks to that, and you've got to drink that to keep pouring it in because those elements need to keep coming through your body because all the elements in the water is what oils your joints. So if you're getting older, you know, you need to drink a lot of water. And getting older, I want to tell you, isn't for wimps. You got to be tough. You got to be that rubber ball, right? When it comes down, bounce back. Tell this thinking thing here, and that the Creator gave us one of the beautifulest gifts to give us humans, and that's thing called the brain. So if you get depressed, who got you there? That thinking thing called the brain. Who gets it back up? That thinking thing called the brain. It's got that kind of power. It's so powerful that you can will yourself to die, and some people have done that. So use it in a good way for your body, and to talk to the water every day, and to give thanks just for being. Okay? I would like to let you to know that we came together October 11, 2004, in a place called Phoenicia, New York, and back inland from there was Menlo Park, where the monks and the lamas go for the retreat, a beautiful place along the Hudson River. And so we all came together from around the world. More signed up than 13, but that's all that answered the call. And it wasn't a coincidence. There's a lady sitting here can vouch for that because it started through her if you read the book. If you hadn't read the book, then buy the book. Okay? And so, anyway, we came together, all 13 of us, and when we got around the table, one of my grandmas, my Yupik grandma from Alaska, brought 13 bundles. Now she's over 71 years old, but she's 75 now. But when she was 9, she came together with us, she was 71. And so then when she came to New York, she brought these 13 bundles that her grandmother gave to her when she was 9 years old. And in those bundles were 13 stones, 13 eagle feathers. Her grandma told her, someday you will sit with 13 grandmothers. So not a coincidence, again, that we came together. And there's a lot of people that have stories like that in our group. So we're circle of the globe. So you men move over. You've had all these hundreds and hundreds of years to goofing up our world, so us women are coming now. Right? We are the wisdom keepers. We are the caretakers. We are the givers of life. We are the bleeders. And so I think it is really a great thing that the Spirit has chosen us to come together at this crucial and chaotic time in our world. And to bring together people like you to join me and be that voice for the voice of, for all things that doesn't have a voice. Help me to help people to take care of our water all over, not just here in the state of Oregon, but when you pray, think about the water all over the world. We are all connected. There's more water-based than there's land-based, right? So that tells you something. So we're all connected. We are this family. On our t-shirts that we have designed, I put on there one life, one tribe, one chance. And we have one life. We should be living like one tribe and getting along. And we got one chance to do it. So we're all in this leaky canoe together. So it takes all of us to stay afloat, no matter where you live. Be conscious of your surroundings. Be conscious. I always say, when the tree breathes, I breathe. When I breathe, the tree breathes. So that kind of connection of how we exist in this world. This is why we have smogs, because our tree people in the green is being cut down and pavement putting over her face. And when we were in Delhi, India, you couldn't even see the sky because of the smog, because they've cut down so much of the green. And so we need to be careful and be that voice of things are happening around us that you could be a voice and try to stop. You all have a duty, you all have a responsibility. It is not us adults that own this world anyway. Did you know that? It's not us adults that owns this world. It's the little people. And it's us adults that have the responsibility to take care of it for the little people and the 7 generations to come. And so we're not doing a very good job. Right? We're not doing a very good job. We're getting cantankerous, we're getting alcohol and drugs, we're walking away from that responsibility. And we as sober people need to be those leaders to try to stop people from getting into alcohol and drugs. You know? We've all been touched by it. We all need to care about it. Whether you drink now or you quit or whatever, it doesn't matter, but you have been touched by it. And we need to help others and have our hand out and help those that need our hand up. We need to pass on peace and say it. Peace begins with me. Say it louder. Peace begins with me. And that's the kind of message that you need to give from your heart to somebody else's. That peace. If we want to have peace in our world, we're going to have to come together like you are here, sitting here today, a family, a village. Because I grew up when they said it took a village to raise one child, right? So we are this village. Let's help one another in a better way with our Earth Mother. Because I think that we have done this kind of damage because those animals out there didn't do any of this. It is we, the people, that have damaged our world to a point where I think our Mother Earth is angry and calling the water slowly back to her, because there's places, even where I grew up, where water has dried up. Is there places where you live or used to live that the water is gone? Okay? Earth Mother, I think, is a little bit angry with us and calling it back because we're not talking to it. We're not telling it how sacred it is and how precious for our existence. That water, we have to rely on it every day. Every day. Because I always say, yesterday was history, tomorrow's a mystery, and today is our gift. We can only do one day at a time. And so we need to do our life today like we're going to die tomorrow anyway. Fill it to the best you can and do the best you can with the love coming from your heart. Be that beacon out there for others to be able to look at you and say, I want to talk to that person because they're up in the sunshine belt. And just like the man said before us, you know, laughter is one of the best medicines you got and one of the freest you got. Because in order to laugh, you have to be up in the sunshine belt. And when you're in the sunshine belt, your immune system's up, your body heals and your mind comes along, right? So I hope that our message from the grandmas, you know, to empower women, and just because you're getting gray-headed, don't let your kids put you out to pasture. You know, kids that are here, take care of your grandparents. They are the wisdom keepers of your family. Just like my grandma here says, behind each of us is all those grandmas and all those grandfathers. Think of them sometime when you pray and give thanks, because it took all of them to make who you are. Don't forget them. Tell their story. They speak through you many times, because I've said in my life, gee, why didn't I think of that before? It pops out and I think, well, one of the grandmas pushing my buttons here. So give thanks to those ancient ones, or you wouldn't be here. If it wasn't for their stalwartness and their strength, none of you would be here. So think and give them thanks once in a while and send a prayer to the Star Nation. Okay? And I'm talking about the Star Nation. I got the dragonflies on my purse, and they're in my house. They're hanging on, they're used for my doorknob. They're in my socks and aprons and purses and you name it. They're a transformer in my tribe. The old people believe that when your dad went to the Star Nation, you came back as a dragonfly. So they're called Dal in my tribe, D-A-L-D-A-L, the Dal. And so they circled me once since I've been here. And I have them on my moccasins, and I have them on my purse, and they're all over around my home. And so the first time in my life, I've got my face painted with the dragonflies. And so I really feel that that is a message there too. I've never had anything done like this. I didn't do it because it was funny. I did it because something spoke within. And the lady said, "What do you want on there?" I said, "The dragonflies." Because they mean so much to me, because when I go fishing, they sit on my fish pole and they flutter, and I talk to them and I think, well, maybe that's one of my grandmas, or that's one of my grandpas, or that's my son. I got 2 sons over there, and I got all my brothers. There was 9 in my tribe, and I'm the only one left. So it's one of them come to talk to me. So they fly around me a lot, and they do crazy things, but they're a messenger to me, and I feel like they have probably entered your life too, somewhere along the line. And I think that that is your old people coming to touch you or be with you. And so they have these kind of magic from the other world that we don't tap into enough, that veil that you too can cross and speak with the ancient ones and get their ideas or words to help you along the line, to comfort you, you know. And so there's a great host of messages that when you reach my age that you can use your brain to be able to give back this knowledge to you, to children. I teach in schools all over the country and all over the world. I am proud today to be sitting here being a voice for the voiceless. There's many people here that I know, and I know that you as elders, and if you're not, how many of you are elders here? Those don't have their hands up, you're an elder in training. So keep your ears and eyes open, because there's elders always wherever you are. And I pray that how many of you young people got grandparents? That's nice. And there's many people. We've been over to India where there's over 2,000 orphans over there that wanted to adopt the grandmas for a grandma. And so it's really great to have grandparents in your life. So if you do treat them well, be good to them, watch over them, keep them safe, because they have taken care of you. And so that's the way I feel. I'm very proud to have my middle daughter here, Nadine, with me today. I have my baby girl, she's 56, and my son, I have one son. The Creator needed my oldest boy and my youngest son, so he's got 2 up there already, and I have my son Keith, lives over in California, that's a lawyer that I call my Perry Mason. And he has a law office called Indian Justice. And so there's a funny thing there too, is that there's only 2 states in the United States that when you pass the bar that anybody has to know before they get their degree, that they have to know Indian law. And that's Arizona and Washington State. And I said, that's wrong. It should be every state in the union, because our people were all over this country. So I just really think that, and that's another thing too, that I've been teaching in universities from here across the continent, that when a teacher gets her certificate or his certificate, that they should know the history of the land they walk upon, and they don't know that either, because a couple of years ago I taught 22 teachers down in Grants Pass, Oregon, the history of my people that they knew nothing about. So I think that our educational system should put that on their curriculum, that they should know about the history of the land they walk on. So if anybody there has any questions for us today, I don't know if I have all the answers, but I'll certainly try. But we are, I'd like to let you to know we have a grandma in Gabon, Africa, that we were supposed to went there last year, but she nearly died. She became very ill. And then I have 2 grandmas right now in Mafia in South America that I've been down there with them, riding on the Amazon with alligators crawling up the bank. And then we got a grandma in Huatla, Mexico, and a grandma out of Kathmandu in Nepal, and another grandma in Anchorage, Alaska, and two in Pine Ridge, South Dakota, Lame Deer, Montana. We got Margaret Meehan, Red Spider Woman of the Cheyenne Nation, and then we have Mona Palaka from the big Palaka family of the Havasupai and Hopi and Tewa is in Scottsdale, Arizona. And myself, that is in Oregon. I think I've named it all. Oh, Florida Mile, our Mayan grandma that is now living out of Santa Fe, New Mexico. A great lady that is growing in greenhouses, medicine plants that she has gathered from all over the world. Doing a great job, trying to save the seeds. And that's another thing that we should be trying to do, is save the seeds. So, because we got a lot of medicine plants that are gone because we didn't do that. So the grandmas are coming together, and right after my gathering, I'm bringing the international grandmas down to my Lincoln City, Oregon, close to our casino. We have our tribe owns some motels, and we get them housed there. They'll be coming in there on the 30th of this month, and they'll stay until the 10th in Lincoln City, Oregon. And we are packed to the rafters, and we have a big problem now that's gotten so huge, which is great. It's gotten so huge where we're going to put them all together, and we have to work on that. And then I'm going to bus them up to my tribal annual powwow, which is second weekend in August, and bus them up there and put them in a parade Saturday morning, and then keep them up there that day, and then bring them back Sunday for our traditional salmon dinner, and then we'll go back down and stay in Lincoln City and fly out on the 10th to Portland, Oregon, go to Portland, Oregon, and fly to New York, and we'll go to Omega, New York, and then some of us go back where we came together in Menlo Park. And so they'll stay there until the 23rd. I'll leave on the 19th to Perth, Australia. And from Perth, Australia, I spend 6 or 7 days there and go to South Adelaide, the capital, and meet with the professors that I stayed with before that want me to come to their home. And then we'll go from there down into Coorong, where the country bends underneath with the Aborigines, the Nottingerries, that want me to come back to their land. Because they had me over to pray for the Murray-Darling River that empties into the Indian Ocean several years back. And so I'm very happy to be able to go back and join with this beautiful people. And then I'll be flying home on the 10th of September. So I will be that voice as I journey, talking to people just like you all over on my trip, and pray that, and all of you pray for the grandmas to come in to my tribe. On the end of this month, we got one grandma that can't come from Gabon, Africa, out of Leverville, around the Horn and up on the west side, because her leader in that country has passed away, and so right now she can't come with us. So all the rest of us will be there though. So we hope that some of you that come can be able to meet the international grandmothers. Any questions? The grandmotherscouncil.com.
The question is, how do we find out about the gathering?
Go ahead.
You can go online to grandmotherscouncil.com and push the event button. And we had closed registration because it's just, we filled up the cup. And just 2 hours ago, we moved us to two bigger rooms so we can accommodate not only the people that are wanting to come, but hopefully more of the tribal people from the Siletz Nation. So because we really want everybody to come with a good heart and hold peace. And what the grandmothers say, if you pray for peace, then you can be guaranteed that anything that's not about peace will stand in front of you. That's when you embrace it, love it, and lift it up. That's the work. So.
Okay, thank you, Jyoti. Uh, One thing I'd like to tell you, you know, if this state can uh, adopt a highway, they can adopt a grandma, right? Hey, it's no laughing matter. That's true. I'm the only grandma here in the States. You can adopt a grandma. So back to questions.
What do you recommend for people to get closer to spirit?
What do you recommend so that people can get closer to spirit?
Heal that inner self. When you can heal your inner child and all those owies and hurts and all of that and give that all to the Creator, because I always say yesterday's garbage is today's lunch, you know. And so if you can heal your inner self, I put a casket out there because when I started the spiritual path way back there, I went to my kids and said, forgive me. You know, I made my mistakes as a parent because there's no such a thing as parent school. So I told the kids, when you grow up and you be parents, you'll make your mistakes too, but forgive me. If you got to beat me up, cuss me out, you better do it now. So I created this casket and I put that other bad me in there with all her baddies and all those characteristics. But I always glance at her every once in a while so that she stands this one up. And so I separated the baddie from the goodie. And so I started this spiritual path way back there, and I'm going to tell you, it's not been an easy one, but it's such a blessing to me to be this servant for our beloved, you know, of our Creator. I've met in a lot of churches in my lifetime, but I didn't find that spirituality that it exists with me now. I didn't find it in a church. I had to come back to my true self, this person with an umbilical cord attached to the Earth's Mother. And I've found that spirituality, and I've been walking with that ever since. And I keep it clean so it can dwell with me in here. I'm not working every day towards some God. It's already here. Okay? That's my path. That's my spirituality. The walk my talk. And I carry the feathers, the big condors and the eagles and the hawks. In order to do that, I have to walk my talk, because you know the karma. If I go telling stories, then something could hurt me or my children, and I don't want that. So I really try every day to be truthful to self. When I am truthful to myself, then I'm true to you. What'd you say? More questions? Oh, bless your heart.
She represents the grandmothers that were started in Northern California, thanks to Grandma Aggie. I just want to make sure so they have it for the tape.
All right, thank you, Jody. There's another friend of mine here in Eugene, Ann Blandon, called me several years ago. She said, Grandma Aggie, I'd like to start a grandma's group up here in Eugene. How do I do it? And I said, well, Ann, you must know 5 grandmothers. And she says, I do. I said, that's how you start. So they got together about 200 of them. Or is anybody here that was in that group? Yeah, okay. And so there's a bundle of them. And it was very good to be able to come up and join hands with them and encourage them and support them. And I'll be doing it again soon. Okay? And one of the things I had them to do is when I came back that I told them create a big banner and find a place along the Willamette River and put that banner up there that says, this river is not a garbage dump. And for people to start cleaning up the Willamette. And so they did. They had the media down there and had that, I still got that banner. And for that, people now are taking a big concern about the water that you drink. And so now there's some states of the United States are trying to do something about these plastic bottles that I've been screaming about for quite a while, that you see laying all over the place. And so that there's got to be a better way for us to be bottling water. Any other questions? How can you adopt a grandma? And I think that they're on the internet, aren't they, all on there?
Call our office,
No.
and we can look and see what that means to you to adopt a grandma. It takes many different forms. Right now, some people adopt a grandmother and ensure that they will take care of her plane ticket for each of the gatherings. Some do a little bit every month to help that grandmother towards what she's going to need for this prayer to keep moving forward. So it can look all kinds of different ways. Sometimes one person will collect a group of people to help with some of that because they want their real goal, which we'll talk a little more about tomorrow. I'll keep you on the end of your seat just a little bit. But it's really about they want to go to each other's home place, and they hold a 7-day vigil with their fire for world peace. And so they can deepen their relationships with each other, and they can model for the world that you can pray in different ways and have different cultures, but you can sit around the round globe and unite from your heart and enjoy those differences instead of try to kill them off. And these are people that could not be and will not be killed off. So they bring that kind of wisdom forward for us. So there's lots of different ways. Ellie painted Crow. Last year, got a message. She has an organization called Women Rising.
She's a veteran.
And she's a veteran of 22 years. She's been to the wars and back. Came back and healed herself from some things that went on there. And in that process saw that she needed to have this huge, big powwow drum. And she needed to go to Washington, D.C. and hold a 4-day prayer vigil, keeping the drum going for 4 days and 4 nights at the base. They put us at the base of the Washington Monument. It was very interesting because you could go and touch the Washington Monument. You could feel the drum going up that monument. So when Obama took office, it was very wonderful for me to look there where millions and millions of people were right where our grandmother's drum had been beating a heartbeat for this world and for world peace.
And I got to sit on her drum.
And Ellie is now taking it upon herself because she wants to take on more of the project of Adopt a Grandmother so we can see how that may want to flourish and grow into something even more than what I've just described. So call us. Our office number is listed on their webpage, and you can get a hold of us very easily. Myself and Ann are the ones that are in the office, and the ones, everybody thinks we have a big staff. Well, it's Ann and I, and a lot of wonderful volunteers, and some other staff from the Center for Sacred Studies that donate their time to this effort. It is our prayer in motion. So.
Even our lawyer is pro bono. He doesn't charge us. Wonderful guy. So.
I just wanted to acknowledge to the crowd here that the Oregon Country Fair.
Can you use this so they can hear you better?
I'll stand up and project a little bit more. The Oregon Country Fair contributed $500. The board of directors contributed $500 to help Grandma Aggie's event that's happening in August.
Ooh, all right. Thank you. I was going to say to bring them to my tribe is pretty close to $200,000. That's a bundle. And I've been touring all over trying to raise money and getting people to raise money for me. Every little bit helps. So, adopt your grandma. Another question.
How do you deal with the despair of grief when you lose a partner of 35 years?
Well, I don't think that's part of this bumpy road I talk about. I lost my son, my husband, my brothers, all my sisters, and so I know what you're talking about. But after, in '96, when my last baby son passed, and my husband and my brother in that 1 year, I just about lost it too. And so I went on my knees to my beloved Creator to help me over on this hard spot. And I really talked to him, you know. I said, You took the last of my youngest son, my baby boy, and so I need you to help me over this hard place. And so I grieved for a year, and then I came back. Throughout that year, I gathered things, and made things, and sewed and beaded and collected things that took 2.5 hours to give away at my tribe. I call it the public way of washing of the tears. When that happened, I cried no more, because I believe that all my people that are there in the Star Nation are in a better place than you and I right now. And we have that opportunity to join them with the love in our heart. Okay? And I believe that they talk to us and nudge us and help us because we do love. Okay? And so I really think that don't cry. Don't cry. No more tears. Because the old people say when you do that, you keep them from their journey. And we draw them back. They need to go on. And for some reason, our beloved Creator needs them there more than we needed them here. So lift your heart and release with love, because you do love. Okay? Thank you. We've all experienced loss. You know, when I was a little kid and somebody was going on and was in that casket, I was lifted up to see him and talk to him and whatever. Because my mother and dad said, someday you will have to experience on your own and what it's like. So they tried to teach us that way so we would be able to handle better when it came to us when we grew up. So there's always, but I just don't think that the Creator, created man with a woman inside and created us women with a man inside. So I always say Mother God, Father God, because He created us in His likeness. And so I think that our Creator then can only help us over these hard places and dry the tears and think of them with a smile, because they are in a good place. No hurts, no pains, no nothing. Okay? Any other questions? You're bankrupt of what?
Sometimes moving about in society, we can feel like we're bankrupt. It itself is bankrupt of kindness, even just small kindnesses. How do you recommend one go about or conduct themselves with other human beings?
Who runs your brain?
I do. I control it.
So why can't you say to it right now just what you said, that you don't need that? Say it.
I don't need unkindnesses,
Right.
and I only accept and only acknowledge kindness.
Yeah, right. Kindness begins from the very bottom of your heart.
It's within.
Yeah. If you got kindness and you create it through this thing called the brain, when you got kindness, all that other good stuff, pleasantness, peace and contentment and joy and smiles and laughter, all like a domino effect comes right in. You know, my daughter's right here. I told my kids a long time, I can't give you all those things. That's your inside job. I wished I could, but I couldn't. So that's your inside job, to create kindness within you. Like thyself. You know, create that friend, that buddy, that pal in here that you can talk to, and she's okay. Tell her she's okay. You know, you can talk to her in there and tell her, hey, you're fine. You're okay. You're healthy. You're good looking. You know. Yeah. You bet. Sure. Stand up. You know. You didn't ask to look like you do. You know, you didn't ask to come in this world. You had nothing to do with that. But it's your job now with that thinking thing called a brain to make something out of yourself. That's your job. Yeah, yeah. Because if you live in negativeness, and you're only going to invite negativeness. But if you live into smiles and contentment, joy and peace, people will come to you and say, how do you get like that? You know, how do you believe like that? You know, believe in your smiles. You know, believe in your laughter. Believe in you're okay. Tell yourself, hey, I'm okay in here too. Okay? Yeah, accept that. Heal thyself. You can do it with that thicket thing called the brain. That's why I put it on top of our body so that it can rule the rest of it. Okay? All right. Be good to yourself. You're okay. The Creator gave you this life. Make something out of it. That's your job. Okay? Next one.
Grandma Aggie says that the most important journey we're taking this lifetime is that 16? Is it 16 inches?
18 inches from
18
your brain, get into your heart. My daughter said, why was that? She said, why did you say 18 inches? I said, I don't know, it just sounds good. You know, 18 inches, shut this thing down once a day and get into your heart, you know? Thank the Creator just for taking up this little spot where you are today on our Earth Mother's face. Be grateful for every breath you take. I've been at death's door where I used to beg to die. She was taking care of me. I was in so much pain. Nobody can tell me about pain, because I've been there. But Creator stood me out from all of that, put me on this spiritual path, and I've been trying to, and I don't talk about religion, and I'm not talking about Christianity. I'm just talking about spirituality that's in all of us. That spirit, given to you by that grandmother, and that grandmother, and that grandmother, and that grandfather, and that grandfather, give you that being of yourself. Because you are who all you, your body and your mind and everything came all from all of those that stand behind you. So be grateful for just taking in another breath. Another question?
There. Say it out loud.
Why is it that the grandmothers are touring only until 2012? And if there is going to be some type of event, where do you see humanity after 2012?
That's why we're circling the globe, grandson. The grandmas are taking their horns here, and we got governments all around where we've been traveling that are agreeing with us about peace, about getting along, and I don't care. I never did care what color somebody's skin was. You know, I don't know why people get caught up like that, but you are some of our Creator's beloved grandchildren sitting here right now. You got a right to walk the rivers and streams beside me. Be proud of who you are. And I just think that if we continue to do that and believe in yourself, you can walk a good path.
Can I add to that?
Sure.
I'll be more pragmatic. We are going to each of the grandmother's home places, and it will take us to the end of Creator provide us to the end of 2012, and for us to get around that table of wisdom. And we don't know what will take place with us next, because that's where our mission told us to what we're supposed to be doing right now. So we didn't run ahead of it. We just staying behind it.
Okay.
So it's kind of like what Swami said earlier, you know, we're really not here to predict anything. We're just telling you that there's a lot of people from First Nation all around this planet that have the same kind of wisdom that says some major change in the way we have been behaving on this planet will take place in the year 2012. My Mayan grandmother, Florida Maya, says, oh, the West got it wrong. It's really going to be 2011.
I just talked to that TV medium, Sylvia Brown, and we asked her that same question about this 2012 thing and that the Mayan people. She said, well, why they did that is because they ran out of ink. A good answer. Okay.
What a lot of our friends will also say is that the time as we know it is changing. And so some of my friends and some of my elders along the trail have said, That's why it's so important for you to wake up right now and be fully present in the choices that you're making. It's like we're in this place of original ground, and everything that's possible, that's ever been possible, that we as human beings have related to on this planet, it's out in front of us right now. If we walk through unconsciously, we will gather in our bag and bring into the new world unconscious material. If we wake up and are fully present in those choices, we will see what our children want to hold in their lifetimes and what they want to walk with in their lifetimes, and we will pick them up, and that is what we will create in our new time on this planet. How that will look and what goes on with that, well, that's all part of a mystery. I remember one time when I had a vision. It was years ago, and I was meditating, and all of a sudden I was brought down into this cave, this white cave, and there was this little psychopomp, this little person that was all dressed up in robes, and all of a sudden he clicked his fingers, and all of us there was about 40 of us there, and all of us kind of went into this trance, kind of hypnagogic state, and then he clicked his fingers and we came back, and he said, and that's how quick the change will be, and you're being prepared for it right now. And then all of a sudden I was out of the vision. My very dear friend was over here in the United States. I was living in Switzerland at the time, and she also was brought into a vision, and what she saw about the same time was two earths, and it was one earth that was shaking, then it popped apart, and there was one earth that was called positive pole, and there was a second earth and it was called negative pole. So she said to Spirit, so what do you have to do to live on positive pole? And Spirit said to her, you must have integrated within yourself anything that would cause harm to another. I was studying at the Jung Institute, so I thought that Carl Jung would have really liked that, because that meant I had to integrate my shadow and own it and stand up in myself and create, as Grandma Aggie was just saying to you, a different kind of world. And someone I heard this morning speaking that said, we've got to, we can keep saying what we don't want, what we don't want, what we don't want, what we don't want, and we will manifest what we don't want. We must start saying with our words and our deeds and our actions, we are peace, we are kindness, we are comfort, we are abundance, we are green action walking, we are.
Oh,
Huh?
yeah, right.
We are all those things. We're all the things. We're the shadow, we're the hardness, we're the softness, we're the good, we're the bad. If we keep looking for good and bad, we will always have a world that's split. If we look at what is, we will accept what is, and we will love will be in all of it. At least that's what one of my elders told me.
Okay. Thank you, Judy.
How do you see that we can best facilitate love among men, brother for brother, not brother in arms, but brother in open arms, and heal the male energy?
To heal the male inside of women,
Heal the male energy.
heal the male energy, accept it. It's there. If we got a Father God, Mother God, there's that balance. Inside of you is that man. Is he balanced in you? And the men, the woman inside of you, is she balanced in you? Like a long time ago when my mother was ill, my brothers run a trap line in the springtime, and they could come home with all these beautiful wild flowers by the armloads to my mother. And I look back, as I studied psychology, and I look back and I thought that was that woman inside of my brothers matching the woman in my mom, giving her those flowers. So that showed their balance. Myself, I woke up one day and I was young, and I looked in my closet and I thought, my God, where's this woman? Everything was masculine, suits, no ruffles, no skirts, no heels, And I thought, I got to change. I was I was in a logging camp, setting chokers and driving log trucks and working, taking a transmission out of my car and sandblasted my spark plugs and you name it, doing all these mannish things. And I thought, my God, where's this woman? So I began to balance myself and kind of tone down that guy inside. And I was a boxer also. And anybody wanted to duke it out, I'll duke it out with you. And so anyway, I had thought I got to tone that guy down inside of me. And so I began to do that. But I acknowledge he's always there, you know. And so we need to balance those two factions all the time in our life, in our words. Men have to soften down and be more kind, you know, especially when young women are in their moon time. You know, this was a subject couldn't even be talked about in school. I talked to the Oakland Choir one time about this subject that nobody ever spoke to them about. And I said that, you know, Dad has to think about Mom, you know, every 28 days. In the old days that when a person was in her moon time, the shaman didn't even want to come around because that they were so powerful to take his power. So when women were in their moon time, they would curse it, get mad, and it stunk, and give it all these negative connotations that would drive it inside and make it all the worse. And yet it was a beautiful time in a young person's life. The young girls were a society within a society of our people. Very revered, the virgins. And that needs to come back to where people can take care of their bodies in a better way. And think better of yourself. You know, I don't care what age you are. To be able to speak of yourself because you have a right to walk beside me at any time. Whether you're tall, short, fat, skinny, whatever. So quit beating yourself up that you don't look this way, you don't look that way. That envy doesn't help you to be who you are. Just be thankful that you are here, a living, breathing human being with the right to live on this planet. Okay? Are we about there?
Yeah, we are. You can invite him to come tomorrow.
Oh, there's so much
You
to
can
talk to you
invite him
about.
to come tomorrow.
Oh, will you ladies come by tomorrow and sing for my pal here?
And these guys too.
Yeah.
Everybody return.
Well, everybody come back tomorrow, you know. Come back and sit in the shade below the one-legged, our beautiful tree people. Just stand like they do. They're always pointing to the Sky Nation. You know, we know their heart is right. You know, so stand tall. Okay, let's hear from our beautiful choir over here. Yeah, just hand him a mic. This one probably go over the better. Oh, I want to thank all of you for listening today and being here. Bless your heart. May the Creator richly bless you in your life and from this moment on. May He, the unseen of this land, walk amongst you and touch you. If anybody's here that needs a healing breath of the Creator, just use this thing called a brain and concentrate on that healing breath going into you. Okay? Thank you so much.
Thank you all for coming here and listening to Grandma.
Put it up.
Okay. My name is Kayla, and I've written a verse. Kind of coincides with everything. Okay. It's been a while.
As the situation worsens, I become a better person, more aware of the perversion of sacred things, so certain that I'm searching for the messenger it perches on the brink of the earth's surface. Don't think I know, it's no time to be nervous. Reverse the curses. Love our neighbor despite our diversions. Those who don't know their history are bound to repeat it. You need it, the truth, defeat it, believe it. Look how far we came. We know the beast by name, so I use my brain and eat my whole grain. Sustain food for thought. I'm not hungry when the bomb drops. How to make money if the war stops. United we stand on the backs of the third world, brainwashing our own little boys and girls to believe that what the government does is okay, to believe that we're not safe from the demons they create. Perpetuate the fear and hate so I can take it to the bank at the expense of their lives. Bottle and sell all the tears they've cried. Capitalize on that. I'll make money off you being off track. I'll make money off the fat on your back. I'll make money off you being out of shape, uninformed and broke. Ain't it funny how I think you're a joke? I'll make money because you smoke cigarettes with no regrets or remorse, because it's my habits you support. First class Lampadors, dominion over the world, and I still want more. Take advantage of the poor, it's in my best interest. I'm a greedy fat cat and I do bad business. Cut corners on the foreigners and my own people. We are not equal, the world is out of balance. Witness what happens when you worship the phallus.
Wow, bless you. All right, run that through your mind again, okay? Oh, thank you so much. That's beautiful. Okay, I hope everybody comes back tomorrow. Have a good night's rest, and may an angel sleep on your pillow. Okay? Oh-ho!